you.
Good call from SpaceX, now about a minute and a half into flight. At this point, SpaceX is preparing to thermally condition the Merlin vacuum engine ahead of its first burn. SpaceX, now about a minute and a half into flight. At this point, SpaceX is preparing to thermally condition the Merlin vacuum engine ahead of its first burn. Now 2 minutes into flight. See a few events in fairly rapid succession. The first stage main engine cutoff at about 2 minutes and 25 seconds into flight. That'll be followed by stage separation to flight. See a few events in fairly rapid succession. The first stage main engine cutoff at about 2 minutes and 25 seconds into flight. That'll be followed by stage separation and then the ignition of that Merlin vacuum engine just past the 2.5 minute mark. Coming up on MECO. There you see MECO. Stage separation just past the 2.5 minute mark. Coming up on MECO. There you see MECO. Stage separation. And MVAC engine start.
Main engine cut off. Stage separation confirmed. Main engine cut off. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
Good calls from SpaceX and some great tracking views by our team today. Now a little more than 3 minutes into flight. Payload should be deploying. Payload fairings, excuse me. To flight. Payload should be deploying. Payload fairings, excuse me. There you see those fairings separate, falling away from the Falcon 9's upper stage.
Bearing separation confirmed.
Good call, good visuals from SpaceX. Good call, good visuals from SpaceX as now those Starlink satellites exposed to the vacuum of space for the first time on this mission. Now a little more than 3.5 minutes into flight in real time. The next big event is coming up at T plus 6 minutes and 2 seconds when 3 of the engines on the Falcon first stage booster will come back to life for a roughly 24-second Falcon first stage booster will come back to life for a roughly 24-second entry burn, beginning to slow the vehicle down. At this point, the booster is still climbing, has not quite reached its apogee in the mission so far. Those occasional puffs that you're seeing in between the grid fins on the SpaceX onboard cameras and occasionally from our tracking cameras, when we had eyes on the booster onboard cameras and occasionally from our tracking cameras, when we had eyes on the booster. Those are the cold gas thrusters. Those help control the attitude or the positioning of the vehicle as it makes its way towards the drone ship. That booster, now at about 114 kilometers in altitude, appears to have reached its apogee today. Yes, and is Yes, and is now starting to make its descent towards the drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas. Little hard to see amid the clouds here, but that lighter dot that we're following, that is the Falcon 9's upper stage. That is the Falcon 9's upper stage as it continues to make its ascent at about 147 kilometers in altitude and approaching 12,000 kilometers per hour. A little more than 5.5 minutes into flight at this point in real time. We are scanning the skies to see if we can catch the entry burn with our ground tracking cameras. If we're able to see it, we'll of course bring that to you. If not, we will rely on the onboard cameras from SpaceX. Entry burn should be beginning.
Yes, has saved.
Entry burn wrapping up in real time.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Stage 2 AFTS has saved.
That AFTS is the automated flight termination system, now no longer needed at this stage in the mission. Because of the distance and how close to the horizon the landing burn will begin, we unfortunately won't be able to see that from our on-the-ground tracking cameras, so we'll be relying on SpaceX's cameras at the
Landing burn.
Stage 2 internal guidance.
Landing leg deploy.